Awesome, everyone. Let's come back and start discussing our third session on chapter one, which is basics of derivative. So far, what I have discussed, I have introduced what is derivative and how derivative is connected with forward contract, what is underlying asset, what is long future, what is short future. We have discussed about long position holder, short position holder. We have discussed the history of derivative, how from commodity derivative we saw currency derivative to credit derivative to equity derivative. We have seen phase by phase manner how the concept of derivative was actually implemented in different part of the world. Even I have discussed about the factors which influenced the growth of derivative market globally. Now, since we are talking about how the derivative is spreading, the use of derivatives spreading all over the world. Now, let's talk about Indian derivative market. So, talking about Indian derivative market, so basically the first committee which was framed by government of India, that was LC Gupta committee, a 24-member committee under the chairmanship of Dr. LC Gupta, that was framed on 18th November 1986 to develop an appropriate regulatory framework for derivative trading in India. So you can remember the timeline. It was framed on 18th November 1996. Okay, so that government was curious to know that when we can start allowing derivative trading over the Indian market. Earlier, it was a Badla trading based mechanism in our country. So to scrap Badla trading and to introduce derivative trading in the market, government appointed Dr. LC Gupta committee. Okay, it was a 24-member committee. Okay, and they discussed the regulatory framework required for allowing derivative trading on India. Okay, this committee submitted its report in March 17, 1998, where they suggested the government of India that derivative should be declared as security, because before you can allow derivative to be traded in the market, required changes need to be made in the SCRA, Security Contract Regulation Act of 1956. Okay, there the word security in that derivative should be given a space. Then only a derivative can be allowed for the trading over the Indian market. Even in India, since derivative in the form of exchange-based trading mechanism is being used and being using right now, but even we cannot use OTC based trading on derivative in India. Banks and corporate banks and corporate are allowed till certain extent to go on OTC market. Otherwise, normal corporates are not as such being encouraged to participate in OTC based trading mechanism. Okay, I hope you remember what is OTC based trading mechanism. So you remember in 18 November 1986, Dr. LC Gupta committee, 24-member committee was framed, and then they have submitted the report in 1998 in March, where they suggested that yeah, derivative should be declared as a security, so that the regulatory framework applicable to the trading of security could be given, should also govern the trading of derivative. Okay, I hope everyone have understood this. Subsequently, SEBI Securities Exchange Board of India has created a group. Okay, in June 1998. Okay, in June 1998. Okay, under the chairmanship of Professor J.R. Verma. Okay, to recommend measures for risk containment in derivative market in India. The first Dr. L.C. Gupta committee suggested that yeah, we can allow trading of derivative, and they submitted the report in March 1988. Then in June 1988, SEBI created another committee under the leadership of Professor G.R. Verma. His work was to let government know what all risk management mechanism they need to create so that derivative can be allowed for trading purpose. Okay, the committee submitted its report in October 1998. It was made in June 1998, and they've submitted the report in October 1998. It worked out the operational detail of margining system. I hope you know that when you're trading over the market, we need to maintain a margin, right? Okay, without margin, imagine if your margin in your account, in your demat account is 8,000 and you want to take position over 13,000, then it cannot be executed. So the professor J.R. Verma, they discuss about the risk management mechanism, like margining system, and then going further, they have spoken about like how initial margin calculation should be done, the membership details and net worth criteria, the deposit requirement, and other real-time monitoring of positional requirement, how the brokers and the clearing corporation should work on the risk management mechanism related to initial margin and the net worth criteria. Everything was discussed by Professor J.R. Verma. Then in 1999, the SCRA Act was amended. In 1999, SCRA Act was amended to include a derivative under the domain of security. Okay, so finally, as suggested by LC Gupta committee in 1999, ultimately the government did amendment in SCRA Act so that derivative should be given a place for the trading purpose. Okay, so in March 2000, the government repealed the 3-decade-old notification which prohibited forward trading in security. So ultimately, then in March 2000, government have made regulated changes in the trading of forward contract, which government has actually abolished before. Now, government in phase by phase manner introduced the concept of derivative over the exchange. So you can remember the timeline here. So the exchange traded derivative started in India in June 2000, where SEBI permitted BSE and NSE to introduce equity derivative segment. To begin with, SEBI they approved trading in index future on Nifty and Sensex. So in June, you can write down this timeline. So in June 2000, index future was introduced over BSE and NSE. Okay, these two exchanges. Okay, let me just switch off my camera for the timing. So in 1999, sorry, in June 2000, then index future was allowed for the trading purpose. Okay, you can see this. Okay, over Nifty and Sensex. Okay, later the trading on index option started in June 2001. So in June 2001, in June 2001, in June 2001, then index option was introduced for the trading purpose. First in June 2000, index future was introduced. Then in June 2001, index option over BSE and NSE was introduced. Okay, then future contract on index individual stocks. Okay, then trading on, yeah, and then trading in options on individual stock was commenced in July 2001. In July 2001, in July 2001, what we introduced, then we allowed stock options. In July 2001, we allowed stock options. In July 2001, we allowed stock options for the trading purpose. Okay, future contract on individual stock started in November 2001. Then in November 2001, okay, stock future was introduced. So you please remember this timeline. So first index future, then index option, okay, then stock option and stock future. The first index future was introduced in June 2000, and then June 2001, after 1 year, index option was introduced. Then in the same month, next month, July 2001, stock option was introduced. Then in November 2001, stock future was introduced over the Indian market. Clear, everyone? Now, discussing further on the product in derivative market, already I have spoken about forward contract. You know about forward contract. So what are basically a forward contract? Forward contract are basically a bilateral agreement Okay, between long and short position holder. Same thing is written here. It is a contractual agreement between the two parties to buy and sell an underlying asset at a certain future date for a particular price that is pre-decided on the day of contract. So already I mentioned here to you people in my first video that in the case of forward contract, long position holder and short position holder, they're talking about the terms of the contract which they will do in the future. The same thing is given that on the pre-decided condition, they will follow the contract in the future. So both the parties are committed and they are obliged to honor the transaction in the future, irrespective of the events what will happen in the future. And these kind of whichever are bilateral contract, they are called as OTC, over the counter contract. Clear, everyone? Then the next thing I have mentioned to you people that what is future contract? Future contract are nothing but they are forward contract which we allow for the trading purpose over the exchange so that the counterparty risk can be avoided. Okay, so future contract is similar to the forward except that the deal is made through an organized and regulated exchange. I hope you are getting the part. The same thing I mentioned to you rather than being negotiated directly between the two parties. Negotiated directly between the two parties, it happens in the case of forward contract. Future contract are also standardized contract. Why they standardized contract? Because here the terms of the contract are decided by the exchange. Okay, in term of the lot size, maturity date, everything will be divided, everything will be decided by the exchange, and both the long and short holder has to follow this. Okay, going further, talking about options, what are options? The options are the contract that give the right but no obligation to buy or sell the underlying on or before the stated date at the stated price. When while the buyer of an option pays the premium and buys the right, while the writer or seller of the option receive the premium with an obligation to sell or buy the underlying asset if the buyer exercise the right. Okay, let me explain you this part. So in the case of options, what happens? In the case of option, you have in the case of option, let me switch off my camera. So in case of option, you have long position holder. Like in every transaction in derivative, you will have long position holder and you will have short position holder. Okay, long position holder is a person who want to buy an underlying asset in the future. Short position holder is a person who want to sell the underlying asset in the future. Okay, so here also we have long position holder and the short position holder. So the person who is the long position holder, he have right but no obligation to follow the contract in the future. Please understand, in the case of future contract or if you buy any contract or sell any contract, in every scenario, you have obligation to fulfill. But the person who take long position in option, he does not have any obligation. He have right but no obligation to follow the contract in the future. While the person who take the short position, he have the obligation to follow the contract in the future. Okay. So because the long position holder enjoy the right but no obligation to follow the contract in the future. So what long position holder basically do, the moment the contract starts, the long position holder pays an amount to the short position holder. That amount is called the initial premium. So the moment when the option contract starts, the long position holder, he pays an amount to the short position holder. That amount is called initial premium. Whatever the initial premium long position holder pays to the short position holder, that is the maximum loss the long position holder can get. So whatever the initial premium he paid to the short position holder, that is the maximum loss what he can get, while the maximum profit of the short position holder is the initial premium what they have received from the long position holder. I hope you have understood. So the person who take long position, he have right but no obligation to follow the contract in the future. In order to enjoy that right but no obligation, the long position holder pays an amount to the short position holder, which is the initial premium. That is the maximum loss what he can get, while the maximum profit of the long position holder is unlimited, while the maximum profit of the long position holder is unlimited, while the maximum loss of the short position holder is unlimited. While the maximum loss what the short position holder can get is unlimited. So you have to understand here the profit possibility and loss possibility, that the profit possibility of long position holder is unlimited, while the loss possibility of the short position holder is also unlimited. We'll discuss more about this in our further videos. I believe you guys are not going anywhere. You will be there with me. So I'll discuss more in that in further sessions. Then talking about swap is a type of forward rate agreement. Okay, where basic or swap, you can say it's a type of forward contract. So far, when we talk about forward contract, you know that long and short come and they do the exchange of cash flows, or they do the exchange of underlying asset and payment after a certain period of time in the future. So swap is a series of forward contract where the two parties, okay, where the two parties, long and short, they keep meeting after every regular interval of time, and they will do the exchange of cash flows. Okay, basically, in swap, when you study swap, the more famous swap agreement are interest rate swap contract. Okay, where one party is commit to pay fixed interest rate while the another party commit to pay floating interest rate. Okay, and then after every regular interval of time, they do the exchange of cash flows. Okay, another kind of swap are the currency swap, where first they'll do the exchange of cash flows in different currencies, and then over the regular interval of time, they'll do the exchange of cash flows based on some notional value, which can be fixed or floating interest rate, and then on the delivery, they'll re-exchange the cash flows what they have done in the beginning of the contract. So basically, swap is nothing but it's a kind of series of forward contract which is being traded between the two parties after every regular interval of time till the expiry. So here, if I read swap, swap is an agreement made between two parties to exchange cash flows in the future according to the pre-arranged formula. Swap are broadly speaking a series of, they basically it's a series of forward contract. So swap market help market participant to manage the risk associated with volatile interest rate, currency exchange rate, and commodity prices. Clear, everyone? I hope you have understood this. So the instrument what we have discussed in this session, we have spoken about forward contract, future contract, options, and swap agreement. Okay, I hope you have understood this, and we'll discuss more in the next session. Okay, so this is our third session. I hope you have understood whatever I've done in this session. If you have any doubt, please use the comment option. And if you like this session, please hit the like button. And if you have not subscribed my channel so far, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you all in next session. Bye.